is leadership? Leadership, the ability to influence a group toward the achievement of goals. Management, use of authority inherent in designated formal rank to obtain compliance from organizational members. Both are necessary for organizational success. What is leadership? Often research and practitioners don't distinguish between leadership and management. However, there are some key differences, and understanding this difference can be helpful for organization improvement. Leadership is the ability to influence a group toward the achievement of goals. A leader does have to be someone who holds a formal position or title. They can emerge from a group and provide vision and motivation to those around them. Management deals with the complexity of the organization and works with planning, organizing, leading, and controlling to bring about order and consistency in the organization. Even though the two roles have different areas of focus, both are necessary for organization success.
Trait theories of leadership. Theories that consider personality, social, physical, or intellectual traits to differentiate leaders from non-leaders. Not very useful until matched with the Big Five personality framework. Essential leadership traits. First, extroversion. Second, conscientiousness. Third, openness. And the last one is emotional intelligence, qualified. Traits can predict leadership, but they are better to predicting leader emergence than effectiveness. Behavioral theories of leadership. Theories proposing that specific behaviors differentiate leaders from non-leaders. Differences between theories of leadership. Trait theory. Leadership is inherent, so we must identify the leader based on his or her traits. Behavioral theory. Leadership is a skill set and can be taught to anyone. So we must identify the proper behaviors to teach potential leaders.
Ohio, initiating structure and considerations. Michigan, employee-oriented and productions-oriented. Two key studies in the area of behavioral leadership advanced our understanding of the theory. The first was done at Ohio State University. They looked at important dimensions of leadership behavior and began with over 1,000 dimensions. In the end, the Ohio State studies were able to narrow it down to two dimensions: initiating structure and considerations. Then, the University of Michigan studies identified two key dimensions of leadership behavior as well. They are similar in nature to the Ohio State findings. However, the University of Michigan studies classified these behaviors as employee-oriented, which looks at the interpersonal relationship between the leader and their followers, and production-oriented, which focuses on the technical aspect of the job. Again, both are important for successful leadership.
Contingency theories. While trait and behavior theories do help us understand leadership, an important component is missing: the environment in which the leader exists. Contingency theories add the additional aspect to our understanding. Leadership effectiveness studies. Three key theory. First, Friendly model. Second, Hershey and Blanchard situational leadership theory. Third, path goal theory. Friedland model. Effective group performance depends on the proper match between leadership style and the degree to which the situation gives the leader control. Assume that the leader style based on orientation revealed in the LPC questionnaire is fixed. Consider three situational factors. First, leader-member relation, degree of confidence and trust in the leader. Second, task structure, degree of structure in the job. Third, position, power, leader's ability to hire, fire, and reward. For effective leadership, must change to a leader who fits the situation or change the situational variable to fit the current leader.
Representation of leaders model. Describe. Help to visually determine the situational factor and multiple of leader what success in the situation. There are 8 possible situations in which a leader can find themselves in. By matching their LPC score with this as different situation, a leader can see where they will be most effective. For example, categories for trust would be better suited to relation-oriented leader because Fidelis proposed that they perform best in moderately favorable situation. Fielder's cognitive research theory. A refinement of Fielder's original model first focus on stress and the enemy of rationality and creator of unfavorable condition. Second, a leader's intelligence and experience influence his or her reaction to that stress. Stress level low, high, intellectual abilities, effective, ineffective, leader's experience, ineffective, effective. Second, research is supporting the theory.
Fiedler's cognitive research theory. Recently, Fiedler has refined his theory. In the cognitive research theory, Fiedler looks at stress as the enemy of rationality and posits that a lot of stress damages the leader's ability to act logically and analytically, thereby diminishing their ability to make rational decisions. The leader can use their intelligence and experience to help them deal with the stress and lessen its influence on their chosen action. Intelligence will be the key factor in the low stress situation where leaders will draw more upon their past experience in high stress situations. This theory is gaining a lot of attention and research is supporting these ideas. Assessment of Fiedler's model. Positive. Considerable evidence support the model, especially if the original 8 situations are grouped into 3. Problems. The logic behind the LPC scale is not well understood. LPC scores are not stable. Contingency variables are complex and hard to determine.
A model that focuses on followers' readiness. Followers can accept or reject the leader. Effectiveness depends on the followers' response to the leader's actions. Readiness is the extent to which people have the ability and willingness to accomplish a specific task. If the followers are unable to follow, unwilling to follow, so the leadership behavior that needed to be done is give clear and specific directions. If the followers are unable to follow, willing to follow, so the leadership behavior that needed to be done is display high task orientation. If the followers are able to follow, unwilling to follow, so the leadership behavior that needed to be done is use a supportive and participatory style. And the last one, if the followers able to follow, willing to follow, so the leadership behavior that needed to be done is doesn't need to do much. Builds from the Ohio State studies and the expectancy theory of motivation. The theory. Leaders provide followers with information, support, and resources to help them achieve their goals. Leaders help clarify the path to the workers' goals. Leaders can display multiple leadership types.
How a leader makes decision is as important as what is decided. Premise: situational variables interact with leadership attributes to impact the behavior of the leader. First, leader behaviors must adjust to the way tasks are structured in the organizations. Second, this is a normative model that tells leaders how participative to be in their decision making of a decision tree. 5 leadership styles and 12 contingency variables. In groups, first member are similar to leader. Second, in the leader's inner circle of communications. Third, receives more time and attention from leader. Fourth, gives greater responsibility and rewards. And then, at outgroups, first managed by formal rules and policies. Second, receive less of the leader's attentions or fewer exchange. Third, more likely to retaliate against the organization.
Leader-member exchange theory. Contingency theory have failed to account for followers and heterogeneous leadership approach to individual workers. The leader-member exchange theory begins to account for this. In this theory, the premise is that because of the time pressure, leaders very quickly form special relationship with a small group of employees, the in-group. This group tends to be like the leader in terms of gender, race, age, and other characteristics. This group quickly become part of the leader inner circle of communication and will receive more and attention from the leader. This group will experience more stress because of added workload. The out group is made of people who tend to be different than the leader and correspondingly receive fewer exchange. As the result, they are more likely to experience stress because of their relationship and may relate against the organization as they become discontent with their achievement. Charismatic leadership. Charissa comes from the Greek word meaning gift. When talking about a charismatic leader, one will refer to someone with certain gift or ability. A charismatic leader will often gain followers through personality rather than through power or authority. This chart takes a look at key characteristics that are associated with a charismatic leader. These are often traits that a leader is born with, thus continue the debate whether leaders are born or developed. The leader must have vision expressed as an idealized goal. The leader must be willing to take on high personal risks and engage in self-sacrifice to achieve the vision. In doing so, the leader needs to remain sensitive to the feelings and needs of their followers. Throughout the process, the leader must be engaged in behavior that are perceived as constitutional.
Charismatic leadership. Evidence show a four-step process can help the charismatic leader utilize their characteristics to influence their followers. First, the leader articulates a long-term strategy for achieving a goal. This strategy should fit the vision and uniqueness of the organization. Next, the leader needs to formalize that vision by creating a vision statement. Charismatic leader will often use this statement to reverse the goals and purpose of the organization. This vision is communicated in a way that expresses the leader's excitement and commitment to the goal. Next, the leader will use his word and action to communicate a new set of value for the followers to imitate. Then, the charismatic leader will try to find behavior that demonstrate their commitment to the vision. They will choose behavior that will help followers catch the emotion the leader is Transformational leaders inspire followers to transcend their self-interest for the good of the organization. Transactional, contingent reward, management by exception active, management by exception passive, laissez-faire. Transformational, idealized influence, inspirational motivation, intellectual stimulation, individualized consideration.
Transaction approaches. First, laissez-faire. Second, management by exception. And the last, contingent rewards. Transformational approaches. First, individualist considerance. Second, intellectual stimulation. Third, inspirational motivation. And the last, idealist influence.
Authentic leaders. Authentic leaders know who they are, what they believe in and value, and act upon those values and beliefs. Ethics and leadership. Leadership is not free from values. When we assess leadership, we must assess not just the goals themselves, but also the means by which those goals are achieved.
Trust, a psychological state that exists when you agree to make yourself vulnerable to another because you have a positive expectations for how things are going to turn out. First, key attribute associated with leadership. Second, followers who trust their leader will align their actions and attitudes with the leader's behaviors or requests.
How is trust developed? Trust is developed over time. The interaction between the leader and the followers are part of the development of trust. It goes both ways. The research has shown that the three main characters of a leader that instill trust are integrity, ability, and benevolence. These three characteristics are important in developing trust between leader and followers. If followers perceive this characteristic as strong in their leader, it will encourage positive behavior such as risk-taking, information sharing, group interaction, and productivity.
Mentoring leading for the future. Mentor, a senior employee who support a less experienced employee. Career function. Helping the protege gain skill and abilities, lobbying for the protege to get better assignment, providing exposure to influential individuals in the organization, acting as a sounding board for ideas. Psychology function. Counseling the protege to boost his or her confidence, sharing personal experience with the protege, providing friendship and acceptance, acting as a role model.
Global implication. These leadership theories are primarily studied in English-speaking countries. Global does have some country-specific insight. Brazilian teams prefer leaders who are high in consideration, participative, and have like LPC scores. France workers when a leader who is high on initiating, structure, and task-oriented. Egyptian employees value team-oriented, participative leadership while keeping a high power distance. Chinese workers might favor a moderately participative style.